This just makes the New Jersey Devils even more terrifying. After an insane performance from former number 2 pick Simon Nemec, notching a hat trick for the first time in his career and making NHL history in the process, the New Jersey Devils sit second in the NHL. With fans riding high after this, it doesn't just end there as to why they're scary. There have even been trade reports around the Devils left, right, and center. And with Simon Nemec's play, it does impact one of their defensemen that has been centered on a lot of these trade talks. But there's also been rumors out of Calgary on how the Devils could very well bring back a former player. We got a bunch of stuff to dive into, and we're going to start there. The Nemec stuff and the Devils lineup is coming a bit later, but we got to start, Mark, with Blake Coleman, which is a very interesting starting point. As the Devils sit second, as you just saw, they're going to be looking probably to add around the trade deadline. Why not when you have a team the way they have right now? And on the DFO rundown on November 12th, Dave Pagnotta said he thinks New Jersey is exploring the market to see what they can add. Says Blake Coleman is on their radar. Quote, keep an eye on New Jersey. They're willing to do that, make a big move. He says he's curious what they do with Hamilton. Now, the Hamilton stuff on its own is a very interesting topic we'll get into. But Mark, how you feeling about Blake Coleman? Of course, the former New Jersey Devil had a great playoffs with Tampa, got a big contract in Calgary. He hasn't been off to the hottest start this year, but for a Devils team that could very well be looking to add, if you can get him retained even a little bit of salary, he's the kind of guy that you would absolutely love for a playoff run.
I think the biggest thing with Coleman, yes, the contract doesn't look the best. You're looking at just under $5 million, but with the cap world, we're seeing the cap jump $10 million each season. This is a contract that's going to be easier to eat the farther you get, and a very good player. I mean, looking at the past, we've seen a 30-goal season out of Blake Coleman with Calgary just 2 seasons ago. Now, listen, the Flames have kind of sizzled out, no pun intended, but this is a team that's looking to actively trade some players, and Blake Coleman could be the perfect piece to come in with the New Jersey Devils on this cap hit, especially if you can get it retained. If you can get this at half, even down to just about $3.5 million, this is a contract that's going to start looking a lot better as the cap world goes up. And if Blake Coleman can even get back to the 20-goal pace that he was on joining this Devils lineup, Josh, I think it just adds more. Now listen, what a lot of Devils fans are going to want is Plot going out the other way. I'm not sure how much we could see Conroy over in Calgary wanting to eat that contract, but if you can make a trade to somehow get off Plot's contract and bring in Blake Coleman to replace him, I think that is the perfect move for the Devils, and I don't know if you feel any different on that.
I mean, it could very well work. I know there's some, I'll just say mixed feelings on Andre Palat. Look, I don't think he's terrible a lot of the time, but like, Blake Coleman is just one of those guys that, look, he has some rapport within the organization to some extent. And again, he scores some goals and he gets some hits. Like, what else do you want for a playoff run for a guy in your bottom 6? Like you said, just 2 years removed from 30 goals, though he has fallen off production wise back to his, closer 15 to 20 goal pace, just 15 goals last year. But this year, scoring, he's on pace for over 20 goals, 20 to 25 so far on a really not so good Calgary team that sits last in the NHL. And you just have to wonder, Mark, with the depth of the New Jersey offense, with so much pressure being put on other teams' good defensive lines by the Devils' top 6 right now, that's been shifting around. We've even seen Gritsyuk jump up to that first line. Now, the bottom 6 is still nothing to play around with. You got some guys who fill their roles, but an NHL veteran who has seen playoff success in Blake Coleman just feels like he'd be such a good fit for this team. But again, we mentioned Andre Palat. I want to get to the other part of that tweet, though, the end part. Wonders what they'll do with Dougie Hamilton, and I think that actually helps transition very well into the next segment. Like, Hamilton, when he's healthy and he's good, like, obviously he's still a really solid player. He can put up a ton of points, and we know how important Dougie Hamilton is overall when he's healthy and successful to any given team. But Mark, with the play of Simon Nemec recently, now look, even he didn't have a great start to the season. There's some rumblings like, could he really make Dougie Hamilton expendable? And I think that might be a bit of a long shot. Again, just off this small sample from Nemec, but regardless, there's a reason he was so highly touted in his draft. There's a reason the Devils picked him where they did, and he is finally flourishing within the Devils system that has afforded him the opportunity to get more ice time with some other defensemen injured this year. How are you feeling about Nemec's play and how this could very well elevate the Devils in the future, not only because of the defensemen that they're going to get back just to bolster this decor that is already thriving right now, but also because of the avenues that could very well open up come trade deadline to maybe move off of some other guys that could bring you some significant value back?
And I think with the thing with Nemec, we're seeing him get that opportunity to jump up. We know Luke Hughes is going to step in, Nemec right behind him. This is a team that has dealt with injuries, but the young players have really taken the grasp of the opportunity to step in. I mean, even just looking at the game last night, Josh, against New Jersey, we're going to touch on a little bit out of this, but looking at the game, Nemec was by far and away the best player on the ice. We know the offensive production. We know why he was taken second overall. We know what this kid can do. But the biggest thing is with Dougie Hamilton being a piece that we've seen injured from here and there. We know it's one of the biggest, if not biggest, signings in New Jersey history. For the team, bringing him in, I think the biggest thing is they're going to look at all options. We know they're up against the wall. When it comes to cap space, we know there's a couple players that are going to come back at some point, but I think with Nemec really stepping up, and we're going to touch on that one key stat that he broke history with, Josh, but I think this does make this more extendable. We know Dougie Hamilton, listen, the media team would take a big hit. We know how big and loved he is in the city of New Jersey, but I think the problem with this is if you want to go out and get a big fish, I'm not going to say Blake Coleman is the big fish you're looking at, but you need to move out cap. You can get a lot of assets for Dougie Hamilton, and I think you can use them to patch up a lineup that, yes, you don't need to add a lot. They're one of the best teams in the NHL, the second best if you want to look at it, but I think moving on from Dougie Hamilton might open up more opportunities to fill out more positional needs.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thought, and I think Devils fans might want to balk at the idea of moving on from Hamilton, but like at the end of the day, like a trade is a trade. If you're getting good value back, you might be okay with it. And again, we're just opening the door here because I think what really makes this situation in New Jersey so scary for the rest of the league is one, how young they are and how much production you're getting from so many young guys. You see Jack Hughes, Dawson Mercer, Jesper Bratt is, I mean, not the youngest, but he's still not old by any means. Like Meyer is really the veteran here when you look at all these guys. Simon Nemec up to 12 points in 17 games. He's fifth on the team in scoring, right? And even Luke Hughes, you see there, Gritsyuk, who's a rookie. There's so many young players on the Devils right now, and they sit second in the league. These guys are producing. And to me, like, yes, it's crazy that they're doing that while being so young, second in the league, going to make the playoffs, all this. But again, I think it's more the avenues that this opens up, Mark. And I think the rest of the league is going to be looking at New Jersey for a while, not only as a threat to play in the regular season or playoffs, but as a team that could very well swoop in and say, look, we have some assets that we could maybe afford to move on from, whether draft picks or maybe some young guys or even some vets other teams are looking for. And we can continue to build this already pretty crazy machine that we have going here.
And I think that's the biggest thing is you're looking at a team that's not only built for right now to go on a run, but for the future. Like you said, there's so much young talent. I mean, even Nemec stepping in to set a record for being the youngest player, youngest defenseman with a hat trick and an overtime goal in the same game. I can't even speak. I'm looking at this. It's insane. What he's doing is insane. Exactly. And looking at the young kid, 21 years old, going on 22, he's going to go in and continue progressing. 12 points in 17 games. I think the biggest storyline that's not spoke about on the Devils is how young their talent is, how ready they look going into the season, and how this is a team that's going to get better. Yes, Meyer, Bratt, these guys are going to slow down at some point in the next 5 years, but these young guys will be hitting their, I mean, that's the thing, they can continue on, but the prime of the young guys comes in at the perfect time that this team is going to compete for the years to come, Josh. And I think they're going to go in and be sneaky buyers, but I think they're going to go out and make a huge move that really sets them apart.
They're going to try to. It seems like they're willing to do it. That's what the reports indicate, and so they should, right? You don't always get the opportunity to have guys on good deals and ready to really take that leap to the Cup Finals team. Like I'm excited looking at this team, and I think Devils fans should be excited too. And honestly, any team that's playing the Devils, count your days. Look scared. These guys can just find ways to win games, and there's a reason they're doing what they're doing, and they're looking more scary than ever. Leave your thoughts on this current iteration of the Devils, Simon Nemec, the trade talks, all that down below, because that'll do it for this episode of Hat Trick HQ. But hey, if you want more Devils news every single day, go check out Devils Digest. They are almost at 1,000 subscribers, and Aiden and Ryan over there got you every single day for all your latest Devils news. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, my co-host, Mark Pye. We'll catch you in the next one.